All right, guys, welcome. We are going to be looking and continuing with our division unit today. So I hope that you guys enjoyed your weekend. And we're going to be looking at division today. We're going to round our divisor and see if we can find our answer a little bit easier when we round. So let's take a look at our two numbers, take a look at our problem, and then we're going to do one together, and then you're going to do the rest of these with your teacher and independently on your own. So I'm looking at page 217. That's where I am right now, 217. Sheep on a train. All right, so it says there are 2,050 sheep being sent on a train. Each railroad car holds 32 sheep. How many railroad cars are needed for all of the sheep? Right, so this number right here, this is called my dividend. And this is what goes inside my box. And then this over here is my divisor, right underneath. All right, divisor, this is what goes on the outside. So when I look at this, when I'm actually solving this, how I would write this problem is I would write this 2,050 divided by 32, or both of those are the same thing, okay? So my dividend's the number inside my box and my divisor's outside my box. So what we're going to do today is we are going to round our divisor, okay? We're going to round what's on the outside of our number and see if we can make this a little bit easier when we're doing our division, because 32 is a pretty big number, right? 32 is a bigger number than we're used to with our multiplication times tables. So we want something nice and easy to figure out a close answer, and then we can find a more specific answer. So if I were to round this to the nearest 10, right, this goes into my tens, my nearest number is going to be 30. So we're going to change our 32 to 30 to find about a right answer. This is not going to be an exact answer. It's going to be an about a right answer. All right. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put our 30 on the outside. We're going to split apart our inside, spreading this out. Now, the reason that we rounded, guys, is that this is a nice number, right? It's a prettier number than 32. I can skip count by 30 a lot easier than I can skip count by 32, right? So if I want to skip count, I can skip count. But today I'm going to show you another strategy called guess and check. All right, this is called guess and check. So we're going to do the same process as before, but instead of skip counting off to the side, we're going to guess and see if we're right. And if we're wrong, we have to keep guessing until we do get right. Okay, so can 30 go into 2, right? 30 is a big number, 2 is a small number, so that is no. 30 cannot go into 2. So 0 goes on top and 0 goes on bottom. I subtract for 2 left over to make 20. Right, whenever this number is smaller than my outside number, it always is going to be 0. Now, can 30 go into 20? Well, 20 is still smaller than 30, so my answer is still no. Now I finally get a bigger number, and here's where my guessing and checking is going to come into. How many times do you think 30 can go into 205? What do you think? How many times do you think? We're going to guess, right? We know it's more than 0, and we know it has to be less than 10, right? Because I can't put a double-digit number up here. It has to either be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. Let's try 5. 3 times 5 is 15. I'm going to add a 0. 150. Well, not quite there. Remember, I want to get as close as I can without going over. So if I go over, I know it has to be the number underneath as long as that number is close. So let's try 7. 3 times 7 is 21. Add a 0. 210. Oh, that one's really close, but it's over. So it doesn't work. So that one's over, but it's really close. So I'm going to try the one right below it. Let's try 6. And this is what my guess and check strategy is. And maybe some of you thought 6 from the very beginning, but 6 is going to be correct because 7 goes over, but 6 is the closest thing that stays under. So I'm going to put my 6 up top and my 180 on bottom, and I'm going to subtract. 5 minus 0 is 5. I can't take 8 away from nothing, so I need to borrow from the 2. The 2 gives me 1, and it gives my 0 10. So 10 minus 8 is 2 for 25. Now that comes over to make 250. Now here's the good news. I already have some numbers over here that I can work with. Well, none of those are 250, so I need to go a little bit higher. So I'm going to try 9. Let's see what 9 looks like. 3 times 9 is 27. Add a 0 for 270. Why does that not work? Why does 270 not work? Well, for one, it's over. It goes over the number, so it doesn't work. So let's try the one below it. Let's try 8. 24, add a 0, 240. Well, that one's close, and that's under, so that's going to be my winner. So I'm going to put my 8 here and my 240 here. Subtract 0 minus 0, 5 minus 4, 2 minus 2, 10 left over. So my remainder is going to be 10. Now, here's what this tells me. How many railroad cars are needed for the sheep? Guys, I rounded my numbers, so I don't know if this is an exact answer. It's not an exact answer, okay? So my answer is about 68. Now, you are not going to see that choice on your answer choices if they're looking for an exact number. But since I rounded, I'm estimating that I need about 68, or you could say about 70, right? Right around that number, something close. So if I actually solved this one and actually solved for 32, it'd give me an exact answer. But since I rounded and it makes my multiplication a lot easier, I'm finding an answer that is close, but not the exact answer. You're going to do the same thing on your practice, okay? You're going to look at these and you're going to round your divisors, and then you're going to solve. It makes it a little bit easier because it makes it easier to skip count and easier to guess and check when you round it, right? So if this 79, if I just round this to 80, it's so much easier to multiply by 80 than it is 79. So I multiply 2 numbers and then add my 0, okay? So work on rounding your divisor and finding an answer that is close to the actual answer. All right, guys, good luck. Go ahead and work on those pages with your teacher and independently and get that complete.